Kia ora, Rochelle Tokoingoa. Assignment 1, Digital and Collaborative Learning in Context, submitted by Katie Nisbet, Rachel Thomas and Rochelle Clark. So, 21st century skills that the ITL have decided are important. We have collaboration, knowledge construction, self-regulation, real-world problems and innovations, ICT for learning and skilled communication. These all link to our core values, which further link around to self-management, social awareness, responsible decision-making and relationship management, which further link out to more community-based things like civic literacy, critical and interventive thinking, and then moving out to making what links into a concerned citizen, a confident person with a self-directed learner, and someone that is an active contributor. So, 21st century skilled communication. Communication is more than speaking or writing. To be effective, communication requires the creation of common understanding of ideas, desires, and observations among people. Communication is a two-way exchange that involves both presenter and an audience. Communication includes written and non-verbal behaviours as well as speaking and has its goal to affect the knowledge of behaviour of another. So B. Brown, 2013. This 21st century links to the He Tikanga Whakaaro, key competencies of tātaritanga. Tātaritanga is both thinking and using language, symbols and texts. Being able to communicate effectively means being able to use both of these. Communication in the 21st century has changed considerably due to the introduction of technology within schools. So continuing on from there, developing technologies have created new opportunities for communication that is spoken, written, visual or multimodal in print or digital forms, and with broader reach and fewer barriers than ever before. Traditionally, we've modelled our expected outcomes more as a whole class teaching experience and then expecting the students to just go and be able to do. Until recently, there has been little explicit teaching of writing skills, let alone incorporating multimodal learning. We are expected to teach uninspiring genres for our learners from our new entrants through to our year 8s, and from here our writers have lost their passion and their motivation and creativity to write. ITL research states that it is important for students in all areas of academic study and in future roles that range from office worker to lawyer to scientist to be able to communicate clearly and persuasively with a variety of audiences and subjects. So our role as teachers, we have to prepare our students for their future jobs, many of which are yet to be created. Our learners currently display limited multimodal communication skills and some are unable to communicate effectively to an audience. So from here, Rachel is going to talk through our identified issue and
Ko Rachel tuka ingoa. Our identified issue is motivation, attitude and engagement of boys in writing. We identified this issue through our 2016 end of year school data, and our current eSTL data also reflected this. This issue has been identified as a school-wide problem and has been incorporated into our strategic plan for 2017. We've used this Wolf-Fisher data to analyse and inform students aspects of our teaching practice that relate to the skills, our teaching skills and the current writing skills of our learners, and the knowledge and understanding of all the stakeholders in relation to the key competencies of our identified students. These graphs show that the Year 4s were above the national average, but our Year 5, 6 and 7 students were well below, and our Year 8s were below against the national average. Our Māori students at Year 5, 6, 7 and 8 were all well below. This is our current eSTL data, which shows all of our target students working below the national standards for writing. Row 4 shows the motivation of our learners in the initial eSTL data. Our stakeholders, our school, using target and testing data, our teachers, their engagement, the areas to motivate, ICT component and confidence to try new things, our parents to be achieving at national standards, and our children through completing a Google form and collating their responses. The school and COAL want to be able to meet their targets in literacy. As teachers, we need to have innovative and engaging ideas for learners, not just doing the same thing over again. The old saying, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. Our parents expect to see their children meet the national standard. However, we know for some parents the possibility of this happening is not realistic. They need to celebrate any gain their child makes. Parents also need to steer away from commenting on punctuation and spelling and look more at the features the child uses. And now I'll pass over to Katie.
Kia ora, ko Katie Toko Ingoa. Bishop and Berryman wrote, students spoke about their desire to know how well they were learning and their desire to be let in on the secret. That is, learning in such a way that they can monitor their own progress, meaning that teachers and students can separately and collaboratively promote, monitor and reflect on outcomes that in turn lead to improvements in educational achievement for Māori students. So that statement there, we need to be continuously feeding back and feeding forward through discussions with our students. The students' initial data that we've collected has been shared with them, and they'll be continually involved in the collaboration process, as you'll see further on our proposed plan. Bishop and Berryman created the Te Kotahitanga Effective Teaching Profile, and it provides some insights as to how we can cater for our learners. For those students that identified as Māori, it is important ako is used for teacher-student collaboration. Ako means both teaching and learning in Te Reo Māori, so it's important for teachers to have reciprocal discussions with students. Bishop and Berryman also talk about teachers having high expectations for their learners, and if the teachers have these expectations, then the outcomes for learners will improve. Finally, they have identified that it is our obligation to engage all learners. Our pedagogical outcomes. All students will be motivated and engaged to write, have a context for their writing, for it to be real and purposeful, have a strong knowledge and vocabulary base, and be able to incorporate a range of digital technologies to communicate effectively to an audience. As teachers, we need to develop higher order thinking, deeper knowledge and understanding, life experiences and connections to the world, critical thinking, cultural knowledge, problem-based curriculum, and more student-directed. Our pedagogical outcomes are linked to our Wolf Fisher data, school strategic plan, and our student voice via the Google survey we did. They also link to the 21st century skills as they involve making sure learners can communicate more effectively, and these are reflected in our pedagogical outcomes. Our proposed plan. And we've got a number of things here on our proposed plan. In conjunction with the identified needs of our learners, we've identified these aspects to incorporate in our teaching, things such as SEMA and the KVL, and delivery of our writing program. We've acknowledged that our students respond better to a wider variety of media and learning experiences, so we've included nightzookeeper.com as a motivator, as well as doing things like collaborating on Google Docs and introducing the Game of Awesome, which is a ministry supplied resource. And we need to reflect on these in our daily teaching practice as well to make sure they are working for our children. As a COAL, we are working with Alison Davis and Vision Education to motivate and engage our learners in writing. A strategy we thought would be beneficial to implement was the KVL. Building a knowledge and vocab base before writing starts so that everyone is on a level playing field for writing. We think it is possibly the most important tool we can use, and in conjunction with the other motivators we have identified, we believe that this should be able to motivate and engage our learners. Ko te manu e kai ana I te miro, nona te ngāhere, engari ko te manu e kai ana I te mātauranga, nona te ao. And there are our references for our presentation.